Hey everybody, we're back playing Spewer, and I don't know exactly where we are in the plot at this point, but honestly the game pretty much doesn't have a plot, it's just a series of levels. I'm not really hearing any sound right now. Oh, I guess because I have headphones plugged in and they aren't in my ears. Well, I could do it. Oh well, I don't really need to have the sound on in order to post-commentate this game, because pretty much it doesn't make a difference whether you can hear the game or not. Although I have had to go to great lengths to get the volume of the game to be within the same range as the volume of my voice in these recordings, just because the nature of the screen capture is that it doesn't get the sound to be very loud, so not a whole lot you can do. This level, the technique is basically just to spray straight up into that pile of black goo and use your green goo to push out the pill up to the top, because you need to turn into the white spewer in order to be able to get up to where the door is. Although I suppose if you're the black spewer, you could do it that way as well, but they don't give you that option, so you gotta be the white one. And it's pretty easy actually. You just kind of, and here I am trying to get as much goop as I can, but basically just nibble off the ground. And then you just kind of just spray a path up the left side there. Just make sure when you're making these paths that you want them to be low enough at the starting point that you can jump into them. Because once you run out of goo, there's no way you can jump up there and eat it back down if it's too high to reach. So you have to be very careful when you're doing that you don't put it too high. Or like if you just spray straight up, it might be too high. Now here I kind of go a little bit overboard on being a bit of a perfectionist. Because all you really need to do here is get to the top and push the switch. And then on your way back down, eat enough goo to propel yourself up into the door over there, which really would be like a third of a bar. So you probably could just like fall straight down through the left side there where there's a good bit in the line, and just eat all that up, and have plenty to go through up to get you high enough to go over to the other side there. But I decided I wanted to go ahead and show that it is possible to actually eat all of the goop on your way back down if you plan ahead a little bit and don't ever leave like a big piece like way up in the air behind you. Sort of just work your way down here, and you actually can jump. There's a little bit of a glitch in the game where you can kind of jump off of goo that you've already eaten. I don't really know how it works out like that, but yeah, you can see here I started to think I was going to lose it because I couldn't get that piece up there, but I actually jumped off of this one to get it. Oh no, got it. Alright, and there you go. You actually can eat all of it and get basically a full bar, which is not necessary, but yeah, you see I used like a half of a bar, and that was more than I needed to use. Alright, what's next? Ah, the acid rain. This level's kind of tricky. You want to get over here and spray this as fast as you can, because you want to make a ceiling, essentially. And if you just make a flat ceiling, it's going to go right through. You have to make it at an angle, because rather than penetrating it, you want it to just sort of like roll off, sort of like a rain slick. Whereas if you make it like a flat roof, it'll just hit it and go right through. And then you sort of got to make some platforms for yourself on the way back to avoid the acid, which at this point is still basically like the primary danger zone is when there's acid nearby. And this level's interesting. There's two ways you can do it. You can just grab the red pill right away and just like repeatedly leap off of that platform, like spraying yourself up into the air, and then like spraying through each hole as you fall down, which takes a bit of timing, but it's definitely doable. Or you can do the technique which I'm doing right now, which is to spray like basically platforms underneath the two lower ones. And see, that allows you to get the bottom one really easily, and then you jump into the top one to spray right through there. And then you just swim back down to the door. It's pretty easy. You don't have to do anything while you're flying through the air or anything like that. And it's actually not that hard to do it in the method that I just did, so I would recommend that one to you. This level basically is it's kind of hard to lose as long as you don't. Oh, that was perfect. I got that one on the left like really well, and then I started botching the one on the right because I wasn't aiming high enough. I tried to aim a little higher. There it goes. All you need to do is throw one little ball in there. In order to get those two that are on the part up there, you basically have to just spray a bunch like right next to the wall, and one of them will bounce off of the ceiling and come back to the left or right or whichever direction you need. So you don't have to worry about trying to get those at like a funny angle or like with a ricochet or anything. Basically just spray up to the ceiling, and the spray will move around enough that you'll be able to get the switches to hit. And now here at this point I didn't have to spray the other one on the right, because as you can see the switches at the top, which incidentally remove the grate around your sprite, one of them is gone already, so you only have to do like one of the bottom two there, and then you just spray the top bit there and leap into the door. That's actually not a very hard level at all. The only way you can lose is, I guess, if you had sprayed enough goo into the top two that you didn't have enough to jump to the door. I don't know. Now this one, oh, don't go to sleep. Dang it, am I gonna have to like sit here and like wiggle the mouse whenever I post commentate? Are you serious, man? Anyway, this level's not too bad. It all does require you to be pretty much proficient in the use of the black goo. And as you can see, you want to fire a substantial amount underneath you when you're going to use them as platforms. Because if you spray it like down right in front of you and expect to land on it like almost immediately, it's not going to work. Because you basically have to, what's the word? It has to like solidify. So like there's like a split second where it's still liquid, where you can't use it as a platform. You have to let it like harden, basically. So you need to give it like a split second to like conform, you know, and have like all the little balls of goo separate from each other and create the matrix that, you know, like makes the goop solid or whatever. So you have to sort of give it a second. That's why you have to spray it like while you're still well up in the air. That way it has time to harden before you fall all the way down and get it. Now this one is tricky, and I decided I'm going to show you one of my deaths because this is probably the most common way to die. And you see here, you need goop to get up to both of those switches, but the only goop on the level is sitting down here above these spikes. Now, the trick here is you actually can swim through the goop even if you aren't the color sprite that you use to spray it. So the black one can swim through the clouds the same way that the white one can, and like vice versa. But yeah, you see the mistake there I made was I ate too much at once. What you want to do is get all the way over to the left side, and then eat just a bit in the corner there, and then kind of eat on your way back out like that. That's basically exactly what you want to do. You want to jump into it, get up high, hover near the ceiling, keep the up arrow key pushed, and then nibble a little bit, and then eat as you come back over out. Because if you eat on the way in, you're not going to have enough to get back out. And you see you can grab some that's sitting there nearby. And now we got to be careful, because we need to have enough goo to get up to both of those, or at least get up to one of the switches at a time, and then to get to the door. And so you don't want to have to try to like come back down here for more later. So use your goo efficiently there when you're trying to make that jump. And you see here I'm trying to just use like single balls, which actually can work sometimes. You see that one worked nicely, the other two I didn't spray far enough out. If it's stuck like halfway in the wall, like those two are, you can't really stand on them very well. But if it's sort of like stuck like a third of the way or less, it's like sticking out more, you can get on top of it, and that'll work. Now when you jump down here, make sure you eat all the goop that you set down. That way you can use that same goo on the right side and get up to that switch. This is one of the harder levels. It'll probably give you a couple tries when you try to get to the white cloud bit. That's the hard part, really. After that, it's just making efficient platforms and not using up too much of your goo. Now, I get the feeling that some players get to this point and don't have enough goo left to actually make it to the door, but there's a trick here where you actually can sort of like spray on the ground in front of you and create a gooey platform, and then very slowly build it out and upward, just by spraying down into the left underneath you. And you see I'm just going to keep working through it like this. Oh, somebody's trying to talk to me on Facebook. I can't talk to you right now, man. And then once you can jump high enough to get near the platform there, you can just make you get near the doors, you can make a platform on the wall, and then from there jump straight into the exit door. So, not that hard. What's left? What have we got here? Yeah, this one you might be tempted to immediately try to rocket up to the door, which I guess could be possible. I mean, sure it's possible, but it'd be really, really hard. And like, you don't have to put yourself through that, because it's pretty hard, pretty easy to do it the way that they actually intend you to. But just to spray some red goo up here and push these fruit off. But you see, I end up waiting for a bit for that one to come down, I think. I don't know if I ever spray it again. Yeah, there it goes. Whoops, oops. Don't right-click on things, man. What are you doing? Cut that crap out. Anyway, for some reason these fruits can move through the grate, but we can't. I can accept that goo can slip through there because it'll go through holes, but I don't know how that fruit could get through there. Anyway, once you got it, you're gonna run ahead and rock it up here rather than going straight for the door. So we want to get that pill. And we basically just use these, what are they called? No, they're not escalators because they're flat. They're like moving floor. It's not an escalator. It's oh, what are they called? Dang. I can't remember the name of those things. Like the moving sidewalks, you know? Like, there has to be a name for that. How can I forget that? I'm probably gonna like put an annotation of like what they're called, but I cannot remember it right now. But anyway, once you've gotten the goo, I took a big risk jumping there. I really shouldn't have, because you can spray it all the way up full from the floor. You see the white goo expands when you spray it, and here you line it up right in the middle and go straight up. Do not drift to either side, and you can go right to the door without a whole lot of trouble there. Conveyor belts. They're called conveyor belts. Alright, awesome. I'm glad I remembered that. I don't have to go back and put an annotation now because I always forget. Yeah, and here I am trying to use up the entire stomach of goo. But that's chapter 4. We get another medal, which I have no idea what this actually are good for. I think it's just like kind of like a meaningless reward, really. This level is called Even the Odds, and you see we've got a deadly acid rain coming down for us. We got a yellow pill. Dang it, I'll go to sleep. This is about time to go to sleep. And once we get the yellow pill, we can actually eat and use acid as though it were, you know, puke, which I guess it actually technically must be, because I don't know, maybe this is like a special spewer that eats acid, which is essentially what he is, but what I'm trying to determine is whether the acid itself is stomach acid or some other kind of acid, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. The thing is now, we can use the acid in pretty much the same way that we use the green goo. It's similar to the standard goo in the way that it affects your physics, but the acid goo has one more bonus in that you can use it to melt certain platforms. Anyway, that's all for this episode, so I'll see you next time on Let's Play Spewer.